Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the No Preparation podcast. I'm your host, Nick Vittoria, alongside my co-host, Mr. Matthew Mancini.
How's it going?
Today is episode 2 of the podcast, and we're here with the Honorable Mr. Shea. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, this is our second episode here, guys. This is very exciting, and we are here with Mr. Shea, who I have not had as a teacher yet personally. Neither has Matt Mancini here, but we actually both wanted to start off by saying that we were grateful to have him on our Kairos retreat. We won't go into Kairos because obviously secrecy of Kairos, but it's obviously here our suggestion that if you are a prep student or an alum, you remember how special Kairos was, and I think for me, Mr. Shea was really part of the reason that it was so special for us. So we always remind you guys, if you haven't been on Kairos, you should take the time to go on Kairos.
Yeah, any underclassmen watching this, I highly suggest it. It's an experience like no other, but we won't go any further than that.
I would suggest it. I've been on 10 or 12, and I think it's one of the best experiences that we offer our students. So if you haven't gone, go.
Wow. So we have Mr. Shea here, who has been teaching here for how long?
17 years.
17 years. Wow. It's very impressive.
Longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, it's about my lifespan. So it's amazing the work you've done here. I know you teach entrepreneurship, but you also are a football coach here.
That's correct.
What are the fun things you've experienced as a football coach here at Prep? What are the memories?
Well, I tell you, I played football here.
Yeah.
So it started in 1969 when I was a freshman, and played my 4 years at Prep and then on at college, and then came back right after I graduated, 1977. And that was the first year that I coached, and we won our first state championship back then. So I coached for a couple of years then, and then went on to a career in business. So unlike most of my colleagues, I haven't been a teacher all my life. In 97, we had sold one of my companies, and I wanted to get back into coaching. And I sat down with Rich Magden and said, "What do you think?" He gave me the opportunity. I went back to work for a few years after that and have been coaching ever since 2001. So it's been 24 years coaching here at Prep.
Yeah. I mean, it's very important to remind everyone that Mr. Shea also was a student here at Prep. I think we mentioned it before that there have been teachers here who have been students at Prep, and it's really important that these teachers have shared with us their experiences because it really helps us connect with them and kind of get to know what it's like to have gone through the whole experience. And so, Shea, how long ago were you here at Prep? When were you a freshman?
1969. And in 1969, McAuliffe Hall, that's right up the hill, that was our freshman building. So our class, we were all sent up there, I guess, to protect us from the big kids. And we stayed in our room all day except for science, and the teachers switched. Mm-hmm. And half of the faculty then were Jesuits. So half our, and that was, believe me, that was a new experience for me, having all these priests around. We were not a real church-going family. My mother wasn't Catholic, so that was a different experience. We came down to Berkman's for my sophomore and junior year, and then when I was a junior, the school decided to make McAuliffe Hall our senior building, so we went back up there for my senior year. So I spent half my career up in that old building, and it was wonderful.
Came full circle, kind of got
and now I'm down here in the McLeod Center, the state-of-the-art McLeod Center, very different than the old mansion.
Yeah. So I guess, what was your prep story in a sense? Was it your decision to come to Prep? Was it your parents' decision?
Well, I think like for a lot of kids, it was my parents' decision. In fact, my father was in the first class at Fairfield Prep, just for one semester. It wasn't a good fit. But his father was the town manager of Stratford, was Catholic, and he sent his son over here. But my father didn't like it. So I guess he maybe sent me here to finish what he started. And so that's how we decided that I would go to Fairfield Prep. But for me, it was an easy decision because in Stratford in those days, you had to stay in junior high for 9th grade, and there was a gap when you could play football. There was no 9th grade football in Stratford. And when I heard they had freshman football at Fairfield Prep, I just said, "Oh, okay, done deal, I'll go," and made it easy.
You've clearly, the football team here at Prep has, for me and Matt, we were both soccer players, so we have not experienced what it's like to be on the football team, but it is clear that this bond, obviously there's the brotherhood of Prep, and we all experience that here as students, but there is something about this football team that, these kids or my classmates have shared that it really is this great experience for them. And do you feel like it's been the same since you've been on the when you were a player on the team?
The sense of brotherhood, absolutely. But, Nick, you guys play soccer, and I think if you talk to any athletes here at Prep, they'll tell you that they have a great bond of brothership with their teammates. Different sports make different demands on people, and that develops brotherhood on different levels. Football is very demanding, and I think that's one of the reasons our guys are so tight. Now, almost 50 years ago, we didn't weightlift year-round and do the things that the guys have to do today. But nonetheless, the bonds that I formed back then with my teammates still exist today. Many of my good friends are my guys from Prep and some of the guys I played football with.
That's great. So, a little more lighthearted, if you were to compare yourself to any football player, past or present, back when you were, say, at your peak, who would that player be?
Compare myself. Well, first of all, you just take a look at these guys. They're a whole lot bigger than I am. So physically, I would probably compare to, before, of course, I got old and went to seed, but probably would compare with some of our skills guys, and I certainly wasn't. I'm a lineman to the core. So, look, we've got, a lot of terrific players. I look right now, I was a center, and I look at Charlie Dooley and how hard he works and how I'd like to think that I played that well. So if I could compare to him, that'd be a compliment to me.
We know Dooley quite well. He's definitely a hardworking player, and we were really grateful to watch what a great season this year.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the best parts about Prep is being in the bomb squad and going to these football games. I mean, when I first came to Prep, I am from Greenwich, and I didn't know that many kids here at Prep. But when I had my first time in the bomb squad at a football game freshman year, that's when I really got to know some of the kids in my grade. So I thank the football team for that, and it's really one of the greatest experiences was watching this season, Prep really dominate.
Well, now put yourself down on the field or out on the court or out on the ice, and the same is true for the athletes. The experience, the Prep game day experience, particularly this year with football, you look at some of the games we had with 4,000 and 5,000 people, they're absolutely fantastic. But it's true in so many of other sports, and it means so much to the athletes that their friends and brothers are up there supporting them. It's a great experience to be in the crowd. It's a great experience to be playing, and I think that's one of the things that makes athletics here at Prep so special.
I remember the Greenwich game this year in the playoffs specifically because me, as well as Matt, and a bunch of other guys were in the senior lot parking lot cooking hot dogs on a Foreman grill that we bought
20 minutes
before an hour before the game, and we were like, let's just, let's tailgate, let's get excited. This was, it's a great memory, I think, here at Prep and the football team, I guess.
Having playoff games at home in any sport is a special experience,
yeah,
and we are fortunate to have two this year.
Yeah.
So, in 2018, you won the Most Inspirational Teacher Award. That's really a award that means a lot to the students as well as receiving it because the impact you've had on the students is really important here at Prep. And I am lucky. I've gotten my course request approved that I will be in your class next year for entrepreneurship, so I'm very excited for that.
Be careful what you wish for. Poor
well,
guy.
Uh-oh.
I know a lot of my upperclassmen, senior classmates who have told me that they really enjoy your class. They say there are parts that are difficult and that they're grateful that you've pushed them and that the things that they've learned they will not forget for the rest of their life. Are there any lessons that you want to tell maybe some of the younger students that will convince them to want to maybe take your class, or what are the things that...
I think there's certainly a real-world element to it because we talk about business, and my business background, I worked for large companies in the first part of my business career, and then in 95, myself and a couple guys, we thought we could build a better mousetrap, so we started our own company. We went the venture capital route and raised money. Started a company, had success, sold one, we did it again. So I've been through this process. And again, there's a practical element to what I try and teach the students. So often it comes down to, again, some of the basics of just being a good student. Being prepared, getting things done on time, understanding that these aren't suggestions, they're requests, orders. You got to do your work. It's not burdensome. I think kids enjoy the freedom and creativity they have. Some of the projects include you know, developing a business case for your own original business idea. Most of the work that we do is in groups. And by the end of the year, you get to form your own group. So you get to work with people that you like to work with, because you're going to imagine you would be starting a business together. You would select people that you like and trust. We have a project where we develop in the area of social entrepreneurship, and kind of keeping with our mission. We put together a project that we would start our own community service organization, a nonprofit community service organization. So there's a lot of opportunity to be creative and to learn the Jesuit elements of eloquentia perfecta, to be able to put your plans together, to stand up and present. We do a lot of presentations in a Shark Tank-like format, where you get up and you pitch, and it's competitive. In our senior comp, we do our original business ideas, and I have a whole group of alumni. These guys are terrific. They come in, and they each group of 4 has an alumnus who will work closely with them and help them develop their ideas. For a lot of kids, it's their first adult contact outside of the family. The time and energy that these fellas put in is remarkable. I mean, I've been reading the email correspondence back and forth between the mentors and the teams, and these guys, you know, I spent an hour or 2 reviewing this, and I'm saying, I knew these guys in the corporate world. They charge $600, $1,000 an hour for their time. I said, you got a good deal here. These guys really give the kids a lot of help, and I think it's they enjoy that experience of interacting with them. I think those are some of the things that the kids might like about the program.
This gives me the moment of opportunity to actually tell the audience here, alumni who are watching this, if you are ever interested in coming on the podcast and talking with us, as much as you guys have helped us here at Prep, we would love to talk to you guys. So reach out to us. We'll put our email in the description of this video, and, you know, email us, and we'd love to have you here.
Yeah, I promise we don't bite.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes.
We're pretty, we'll go easy.
Depends on the day.
Yeah. So back to you teaching here at Prep. I feel like entrepreneurship, specifically, you know, you've been here for 17 years. It's probably changed. Have you taught the class differently since year 1?
No. Because I'm only in year 3. So the entrepreneurship program started, this is only our 3rd year of doing this.
Yes,
it's a new offering here at Prep. For most of my career, I've taught English. Right. Okay. For the first 13 years of my career, I taught freshmen and sophomores. And it was nice, because at any point in time, I could look out at Mass at the student body and say, I know half the kids out here. Mm-hmm. Today, I teach only seniors. I have some students that end up in both of my classes, so I probably know about 80 or 90 of the seniors very well, and some of the football players. So I know far fewer students in our student body today, which is one of the reasons I wanted to come on and chat with you, because a lot of students I don't know, and those that I get them for 1 year, and that's it. So I love working with the seniors. That's the downside of it. I only get to spend 1 year with them. But we're in the 3rd year of the program, and this is the first year where we've had a whole year when we've been here in school, of course, with the reorg that we've had to do due to COVID. And it's made it difficult before, because most of what we do is working in groups. We've all learned how to use Zoom and technologies like that, you know, with all the shareware software and everything we had. It makes it easy for a group to work remotely and get together. But the experience of being co-located, working extemporaneously, collaborating, generating ideas together in person, I think is very powerful. I know the world's going to a hybrid work model, and that's great. It offers a lot of flexibility, but you can't overvalue the power of collaboration and getting 4 people sitting down trying to solve one problem. You're going to get a better solution.
Yeah. And I think Prep will be, you know, forever indebted for the work you've done here. But I kind of want to ask, you were in the business world for a while. What was it that really not only called you to be a teacher, but a teacher back here again?
Well, I think like a lot of things in life, you'll look back at your life and you say, was there a teacher or teachers who had a great influence on me? And 2 in particular that did were Bruce Jaffe and Lou Sirocco, both of whom taught here. Lou for 50 years and Bruce, I think, for 48 or 49 years.
Jeez.
And they really instilled in me a love of learning. They had a tremendous impact on me. It's probably a little egocentric to think that I could have that kind of impact on kids as well. But when I wanted to transition out of business and see what I wanted to do with my life, I've always loved Fairfield Prep, and I believe absolutely wholeheartedly in the Jesuit mission of what we're trying to do to form men for others. I don't think there's ever been a time in history when it's been more needed to try and prepare guys for the world, but instill in them a moral compass. And many of my own business experiences, I've companies that I created were, I think, wonderful work environments. I've worked for some other companies of different industries and calibers, and saw some dubious business practices at sometimes. And I think it's important. That's the world that our students are going into. So you've got to have a moral compass and your eyes open to make sure that you make smart, informed decisions and do the right thing.
So we're jumping a little bit back and forth between your time at prep as a student and as a teacher. Now, looking back at your time at prep, are there any traditions that you remember as you're a student here that are still happening today? And are there any memories that you want to kind of share with the prep community about your time as a student?
Sure. I spoke at a sports rally early in the year, and I wore the original Bomb Squad shirt.
Yes,
because
this is very cool.
We started the Bomb Squad, the class of 1973. That winter, one of our classmates, our class president, Kevin Callagher, drew the design with the Bomb Squad letters forming a bomb. And I remember we had those shirts made. I think they cost $2 in our old, Fairfield Prep Cardinal, which always looked kind of maroon to me. But so we started the Bomb Squad. And just like you guys, we had a lot of fun at games. Our basketball team got to the state semifinals, and we started a tradition of some students. I think the first game was played at Trumbull High School. So some guys left after school, and they dribbled the basketball from prep all the way over to Trumbull. They had a car going down the road, but someone was behind dribbling the ball the whole way. And, of course, prep won. So superstition sets in. And wherever the next game was, we said, they got to do that again. I wasn't one of the dribblers, but we had a bunch of guys who were. And we ended up in the semifinal up at Central Connecticut, New Britain. So I think they had like an early dismissal at 8:30 in the morning. And, but literally, they went however far that is, 50 or 60 miles. They dribbled the whole way up. They came in before the start of the game, just before tip-off. One of the kids went and got on all fours in front of the net. Our kid came dribbling in, went off his back, went up and dunked the ball, and let the game begin.
Wow. We got to bring that back.
Yeah, that seems to be – that kind of makes sense. That kind of – I feel like that prep boy kind of mentality is kind of the same today. There are some weird superstitions we have or traditions we do before games.
Now another one we had, I didn't get to see it because at halftime we were getting, pep talks and that kind of thing. But at the football game, we had a marching Kazoo Band. Huh. And they came out at one of the games, and I remember they did a salute to geometry. They made a circle. And that was it. That was the salute. But, we had a Kazoo Band. We didn't have a band.
Yeah.
We had musicians, but we didn't have a band. We didn't have instruments. So they improvised, and we had the Kazoo Band. They're a little modeled on, like, the Stanford Band. They were probably a little politically incorrect, but I know they were entertaining.
I don't know. A kazoo halftime show might be cool.
Everyone can play the kazoo.
Oh, yeah.
Don't need lessons.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely this, there's reasons why everyone in this room chose to come to prep. It's because of how this school is structured. Do you think there has been a large amount? I mean, there's definitely been change, but is there anything that has changed a ton that you are so happy that is happening at prep now than it was when you were a student?
Well, yes, I think that there's much more of a balance with our students in terms of academic work, extracurriculars, athletics. The arts are much stronger now than they were then, and the requirement for community service. I mean, I know that the kids kind of moan and groan when they have to do service, and then when they sit back and reflect on it, they say, "Wow, what a great experience that was!" And not only did I get to do a good thing, I feel good about myself doing a good thing, and I value the relationships that I made with the people that I served, and so I think that balance now in our life here at Prep is certainly consistent with our mission, and a very, very good thing. Right now, the other side would be kind of the generational thing that's not good. Right, and it affects us all. We have electronic products. We look at our phones and iPads all the time. And the downside of and we heard recently a talk about the perils of social isolation, depression, anxiety, etc. that comes from that. When prep kids are together and they're talking and interacting and having fun, that reminds me of how it used to be, and that's a very good and powerful thing.
Yeah. Now I think. I got to ask the question, what is it could be whether at Prep, when you were in the business world as a teacher, but what is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Do you think that would apply to the students here at Prep?
Well, I tell you what, it goes back to, I guess, maybe being a Boy Scout. Just be prepared, right? I mean, if you're going to do something, and go all in and do it the right way. Otherwise, don't bother doing it. And be prepared. If you're going to show up for a meeting, a presentation, do your homework, test, quiz, anything. Just take a little bit of time, get prepared, and then give it your best effort.
Ironically, the title of our podcast, No Preparation, may kind of go against our title, but, you may need to switch it to total preparation.
I have a feeling that you guys were actually very prepared to ask the kinds of questions you're asking, and I guess I had 67 years to prepare for this, so
True.
We were both probably very prepared.
Now, I think we've talked about some pretty serious topics, but we like to get a little bit more lighthearted in these and ask a couple of fun questions. So I think we asked Mr. Demi this one last time, and if you have one, what is your Starbucks order?
Well, Mr. Denby's far smarter than I am, first, so that's not a good guy to compare me to. My Starbucks, I'm not a coffee drinker.
Okay.
I'm not. So I will have one of those slushy drinks, cooladas or whatever they call it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like those in the summer.
Dunkin'.
Yeah. Every
Blue raspberry?
an indulgence. Nah, just the coffee flavored.
Okay.
Any non-naturally occurring color I try not to eat or drink.
Very smart.
All right. Keeping on the kind of food thing, just out of curiosity, prep cafeteria lunch, what was the order back then, and what would you get? What do you get now in the cafeteria?
I got to be honest with you. I brown bagged every day for 4 years.
Every day?
Yeah, I would bring in. My mother used to buy, 3 or 4 pounds of cold cuts a week. Make me 3 sandwiches. I'd have a thermos of milk. I'd have like a couple of pears, a bag of homemade chocolate chip cookies, a throwaway bag of cookies because my friends would take them. So I would throw some over there so I could have mine left to eat on my own, and would spend a period or two eating lunch. That was like a big part of my day, just consuming lunch. Growing boy, active schedule and stuff. All I remember from the prep cafeteria back then was they had French fries.
Yeah.
I know they had other things, but there was a picture in our yearbook of one of the cafeteria ladies serving up some French fries, and that's all I can remember. So it ain't what it is now.
Yeah. Well, Mom, take notes on the homemade fresh bake of batch of cookies. That'd be kind of nice for my daily lunch.
Boy, I know. My mom loved me. Made those cookies.
So another kind of fun question. So you played football.
Mm-hmm.
What are the sports teams you follow? Are you following sports? And
Oh, yeah.
What are your teams?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't have a life. I follow sports. Sure. I'm a Yankee fan.
Yes.
There you go.
There we
Although I was a Met fan until 1988.
Oh,
you were enlightened.
And they lost to the Cardinals. They just broke my heart, and I quit on them. Became a Yankee fan. I'm a Packer fan.
Okay.
Because certainly Bob Skoronsky from Derby and Fairfield Prep. But I got for Christmas the book Instant Replay. It was a book about the Green Bay Packers and going through their preseason training. And I mean, how tough Vince Lombardi was on them. They'd have to do like 75 up-downs where you run, hurl yourself on the ground, pop back up. And, I said, wow, if these big guys can go through that, I can go through the stuff I'm doing at Prep, where we'd have to maybe only do that 25 or 30 times. So I'm a Packer fan, and I'm a big college football fan. Okay. Yeah, and I like I follow, of course, I'm a fan of our academies. I'm a Notre Dame fan, and of course, my alma mater, root for them. Perhaps my number one team that I root for. That's pretty much it. In the NBA, my roommate from college is the team doctor for the Thunder.
Okay.
So we've all became Thunder fans over the last 8 or 9 years, and for a while they had a good run. We went to some playoff games down there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So are the Packers going to win the Super Bowl this year?
Super Bowl. I don't know about that if they couldn't win it the last few years. But the one thing they are doing is they're getting talent for their defense. They just spent $50 million on their quarterback. That cost them in other areas. But they should have a winning season. Should be a lot of fun.
There you go.
I'm very glad you're a Yankee fan because at the time that this is being recorded, Yankees are either number 1 or 2 in the MLB.
I believe it is
right now.
1.
Are they? And the Red Sox are where in
Awful.
last place?
They are in the last of the AL.
Where
That's my
are the
heart.
Red Sox? Our cameraman Matt Moz is a Red Sox fan.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? Let's all be humble because it's only May.
True.
And the Yankees
It's
will probably
only
do
May.
what they do best and get to the first round of the playoffs and lose.
All right. Well, let's not go there. Let's think on the 27
yes, let's think
championships.
positive. Yes.
The thing I like about the Yankees, there was a great when they called it a game. It was one of these baseball documentaries that had film footage taken by players from really the 30s and 40s, the pre-TV era. And I remember they chronicled a guy in a 32 Cubs had a bunch of film footage from the World Series, and they just talked about how all they were with the Yankees, and just like what a bunch of professionals they were. Yeah, they won, and they had Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and these guys, but just what a bunch of pros they were. And you kind of showed up, looked across the field, and you just said, we're not going to win. And they're the very epitome of excellence. And, I know that's what we strive for here in our sports teams, to be like that. And if you look at the great success we're having this year, we're inching closer and closer to that. And that's one of the reasons I kind of, became a Yankee fan, because they really are just a paragon of excellence.
I was born in New York, so I've been pretty loyal to the Yankees, and it's been fun watching them this year. And I think it's been better than it has been before. But
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Yankee?
Right. My favorite's Joey Gallo. Maybe not performing at the best of his ability right now, but I definitely have a lot of hope for him for the rest of the season. But I am a Joey Gallo fan.
I'm an Aaron Judge fan. They better
Yeah.
re-sign him, because he is just, I think, the face of modern baseball.
Yeah,
He's
very
not only a
talented.
great talent, he seems like he's just an outstanding young guy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And he always credits his teammates.
it's very important.
Yeah, even when he hits home runs, he's always got praise to go to other people, and I think that's one of the reasons he's such a good guy.
Well, I don't know if you saw that video. I think it was up in Toronto. He hit that home run, and a Toronto fan caught his home run ball and gave it to like a younger Yankees fan, and Judge was like, he was ecstatic over it all.
And
That's
this
really
this
nice,
boy
yeah.
was like breaking down, crying,
Yeah.
so grateful that he got this Aaron Judge home run. I mean, it's a great moment in baseball. So.
Great guy.
So a question we asked in our last episode that we're going to probably make a tradition here on the podcast is back to prep and teaching. If you could have, obviously the entrepreneurship class is actually pretty, sounds like a more custom-made class, but if you were to create a new class or curriculum here or teach something else, what would you look into doing? And if there was no restrictions on anything and there was a class you could teach, what kind of class would that be?
Well, I'll give you two quick answers, and one is the English class that I'm teaching now. Ms. Clark solicited input for some new electives about 5 years ago, and I came up with this idea of the literature of business and industry. Now, this was before we kind of had some of our senior electives in various ethical areas. Now, we didn't have that then, and I saw kind of a hole there to read and understand about business, and then talk about some of the ethical issues. And so I enjoyed teaching that class. We have on the one hand kind of the Chronicle of Labor and the Grapes of Wrath and the Dubious Battle, and then I have some great contemporary plays about some modern topics. I guess if I were to teach a new class right now, I'd love to do something in the area of just basically financial literacy skills, to teach people. Entrepreneurship is a very separate topic, but to talk about, and it would merge with kind of stock market understanding, but essentially money, what it is, and money's easy to earn, money's hard to keep. So the things that you have to do, everything from checkbooks, budgeting, understanding credit, and all that kind of stuff. I'd love to have some sort of thing that we could do there with students, because I think those, again, are invaluable life skills.
So, a final thing I want to ask you.
Excuse me, one other class I'd love to do. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I would love to get a one of these kind of portable, indoor agricultural stations, and put it right outside the Entrepreneur Center. I'm really fascinated. I don't have Bob Ford's depths of understanding of biology and science, but I am absolutely fascinated by ag tech, because I think it's going to be such a huge growth area in the future. And I'd love to see a way to get prep kids who are so inclined, interested and involved in that.
Who knows? Maybe 20 years, come back, it'll be right there.
That would be nice. Grow my lunch.
So, this is being shot in the kind of the final quarter of the 2021-2022 academic year. I know you've actually had quite an impact on the senior class. I've talked to a lot of seniors before. They say you were a great teacher, mentor, football field, in the classroom. Is there any final messages, any words you would like to tell to this class of 2022 that they can, think about and keep forever?
Well, look, you guys, you're the leaders of tomorrow, and I'm hopeful about tomorrow because of young guys like you. So don't ever underestimate, right, the power of one. You've got the opportunity to go on out and have a huge impact, whether it's on one person or whether it's on the world at large. One of the reasons I like to teach entrepreneurship is to at least give people some agency, so that if you see something, if you have an idea in the world of business, you have an idea of what are some of the steps that you can take to succeed. And hopefully everything that we've done here at Prep at least will give you both the confidence and the compass to go on out and fight for the right thing. We can strive for social justice, but to go on out and take action to make the world a better place. And our guys are so capable of that. It gives me comfort in the future knowing that we've got another 180 prep grads going out there. It's a good thing for the world.
And I think on that note, we don't want to keep you for too long, Mr. Shea. So everyone, on behalf of everyone here, I think this has been awesome. I think what we've tried to do with this is be able to give teachers, administrators, people at the school that maybe a majority of the class doesn't know a whole lot about. And I think that you've enlightened us on a lot of stuff.
Done a great job, really, showing us, who you are, and preparing us for people like me who are having you next year as a teacher, and for students who are freshmen, sophomores who don't really know who you are, and maybe will want to take your class in the future. So, any final remarks? Anything else?
Yeah, do your summer work.
Yeah,
it's easy, but do it.
Now?
Well, unmanned aviation. How much more fun can it be than to look at a little project and read up on that? It's going to be here sooner than you think. Yeah. Thanks. I enjoyed talking with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anytime. All right. Well, with that, Mr. Shea.